What's up, comic book fans, and welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ what they call me, and today we got the first issue of a 5-part miniseries called What If? Venom. And this series will showcase a different scenario of what if someone besides Eddie Brock had gotten a Venom symbiote and how it would affect their world. And this first issue features She-Hulk as the one to don the black symbiote. And just as a refresher, if by chance you guys don't know Venom's story, Eddie Brock was a reporter whose career had been ruined, and he contemplated ending his own life, but he came in contact with an alien symbiote, and the creature had bonded to him, and upon bonding, the two became known as Venom. So if you guys are ready to find out what it'd be like if Venom would have bonded with the cousin of the Incredible Hulk, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So this issue starts off in the past, before Eddie Brock was to become Venom, and lawyer Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, is being grilled by her boss about a deposition that he needs completed. And when he approaches, Jen already has it completed for him, and he just takes it and keeps on going without as much as a thank you. And after another long day of work, Jen finally gets up out of there, and on the way out she notes, first one in, last one out. So pretty much nobody at this office works as hard as she does. And on her way home that night, she passes by Our Lady of Saints Church in Hell's Kitchen, and she notices this guy running inside with a weapon tucked into his waist. And when we see this guy go inside of the church, we can see the black symbiote beginning to crawl down from the ceiling of this church. And this guy is distraught, super distraught. "I'm ruined," he yells, "and all because of Spider-Man. I want to kill him, but I can't," the man says, as the black symbiote gets closer and closer. "What do I even have left to live for?" the man says. And then he pulls out his weapon and says to himself, "Nothing. Absolutely nothing." But we can see at the same time, She-Hulk has come inside the church after him and is witnessing this whole thing. And when the guy begins to put the weapon up to his head and fire, she's there to stop him. And he looks up like, what the hell? And he notices that it's She-Hulk that's just saved him. Then she asks this guy's name and he tells her, Eddie Brock. And She-Hulk offers to lend her ear if this guy wants to talk, but Eddie tells her that talking won't get him his job back. Spider-Man took that from him, and now She-Hulk is taking this. Then he lets out a sigh and says to her that it must be nice to be a superhero, just to vacate your troubles for a while. Does saving people feel good, he asks? But she doesn't hear him, as she's now being pulled up into the air by the symbiote, as the symbiote tells She-Hulk that they like the other one's hatred, but you possess something more, something in your blood. It makes you angry, tastes like strength, like power, like Venom. But now Brock sees what's happening, and he tries to save She-Hulk by throwing his weapon at the symbiote. Of course, he can't fire it since She-Hulk just folded it up, so throwing it is really all he can do right now. But when the symbiote comes face to face with Brock hightails it up out of there, only to be called a coward by the symbiote. Then it goes back on the attack of She-Hulk. You, on the other hand, it tells her, incredible. Together we will do great things. You'll see. As we then see Eddie running out of the church, screaming for help. "There's a monster in there," he screams, as a now Venom She-Hulk smashes through the church doors. "Why resist us?" the symbiote says to Jen, who now notices that she can hear the symbiote in her head. "Yes," it says to her, "this bond is great. Now cooperate." But Jen refuses. Then she loses control and faints, to the joy of the symbiote, causing it to take full control of her body and telling her to sit this one out. "We'll take it from here." Then we pick back up the next morning with Jen waking up in bed from what seemed to be a horrific nightmare. Those 15-hour workdays are really starting to get to her. She's got to start laying off that caffeine, she says to herself. And then she takes a shower as she prepares for a new day. But she's incredibly exhausted and cannot remember the last time she's felt that way. And unfortunately today, She has a really big meeting. And when she gets to work, it's noticed by everyone how tired she appears. While one of her co-workers is reading a newspaper, says to Jen, "Who can blame you?" When they're writing about monsters in every paper, as we can see that she's reading an article about the Central Park boogeyman. But for Jen, this day needs to be over already. As she sits down, she just straight passes out, and then is later awakened by a co-worker who lets her know that that meeting has already begun. Then we see her walking home later on, as it looks like she lost a job and she's carrying her plant, and she approaches a burning building. And she's shocked when she hears the symbiote's voice in her head again, asking if she's done. Then Venom She-Hulk manifests, and Jen catches a glance of herself in a nearby window, and she's like, "You!" But the symbiote tells her, "Not me, Jennifer. Us." And then the days go by with Jen the lawyer by day and the hulking Venom monster by night. Then we pick up later in Central Park with a group of homeless people surrounding a fire, trying to keep warm. And this group is talking about the Central Park boogeyman. And now this guy Marv is telling the group that he's seen it, but they don't believe him. Someone even makes a joke about karate turtles. A little Ninja Turtles Easter egg for you. But then we see Jen there in the group, and she tells them that Marv isn't really that far off. And when they ask her where her proof is, she changes into Venom Hulk and tells them that we are the proof. And we are starving, and then attacks this group. But then Venom She-Hulk gets attacked by Sabretooth, who comes in wearing this sonic belt. And Venom comments that the sound coming from Sabretooth, "That noise hurts, makes it hard to think straight." As Sabretooth speaks up, "You must be She-Hulk. Little birdie told me I'd find you here. Don't believe I've had the pleasure." And as Venom She-Hulk fights back, Venom notes that it's like punching steel. They need to regroup. But Jen ain't trying to hear that regroup talk. You think the innocent people around us are gonna call animal control on this guy? And the symbiote's like, "What's animal control?" But Jen just responds by telling it that the people need their help. "But this kitty has claws," the symbiote tells Jen. But Jen hurls Sabretooth through a nearby building and tells the symbiote that they will declaw him. "But their lives aren't worth mine. Ours. I know you can feel what that device is doing to us," the symbiote complains. But Jen will not stop fighting. She doesn't care what the symbiote says. People need her help. And her and Sabretooth continue their brawl. And Sabretooth continues to tell Jen that the same birdie told him that she and that goop she's wearing would hate this belt he's got. And as they keep on fighting, Jen is also arguing with the symbiote. And this story must feature some massive time jumps because she tells the symbiote that she's spent years being a slave to its impulses. But hers wants this killer off the street. So that's what we're gonna do. Which makes sense that this what if will encompass an entire timeline, but they really hadn't been very clear on that in this issue, in my opinion. But during their fight, Sabretooth manages to claw off a piece of skin from Jen, and the symbiote responds that hurt it. But Jen tells it to quit crying and let's finish him. But the symbiote just straight stops fighting. And now Jen's like, "Why are you just standing here? He's clearly taking a piece of you for a reason." But the symbiote tells Jen that she's forgotten who's in control. And as Sabretooth escapes after confiscating a piece of the Venom She-Hulk, she continues to complain to the symbiote. "We're just gonna let him get away?" she asks. "Not our problem," the symbiote responds. And now Jen's pissed at the symbiote, like, "You're the worst." "We're starving," it says to Jen. And her response is, "Tell it to someone who cares." But the symbiote tells Jen that she should care about its survival. Then it asks Jen if she regrets entering that church that night. And she responds, "Maybe. If I hadn't decided to play hero, I wouldn't be jobless, homeless, and talking to a parasitic alien. So being Venom has really jacked up Jen's life. Sheesh." But then someone yells for Jen as she walks the streets. "Hey, miss," he shouts. And she sees that it's a guy driving a taxi, and she's like, "Do I look like I can afford a taxi?" And then she continues to walk away, but this guy keeps on. "Wait a minute," he tells her. "Listen, I'm no stranger to hearing voices in my head, and I'm pretty sure you aren't either." So now she stops like, "I'm listening." "The name is Jake Lockley," he tells her. I know someone who can help with your condition. Yeah? Who's that? She asks. Moon Knight, he tells her. I know where he hangs out. Hell of a thing, sharing space in your head with other people. But if anyone can help you, it's him. Lead the way, she tells him. Then we pick up in Chinatown with someone who walks into a bar. Now, we don't yet see this guy's face, but this guy orders a shot of bourbon. Then he takes that shot of bourbon to the head, and then he approaches a little guy that's guarding the door. And he tells this little guy that his boss is expecting him. And then this little guy flashes a weapon, but the mysterious man tells him that he's not here to see that. He's here to see his boss. Then the little guy pulls that weapon, and he tells this guy to turn around while he's still in a good mood. Then we look inside the room that the little guy had been guarding. And it's a group of guys sitting at a table, and they watch the strange man outside the door from the cameras when shots begin to ring off. Then we see one of the goons in the room go to fire a shot at this guy, but his weapon is sliced at the tip. And then this guy tells the goon that he doesn't take too kindly to disrespect. And now the rest of the goons are like, this guy's wearing body armor, aim for the head. And they keep on firing, but one by one they all fall. As now there's only one more goon left standing. And as he tries to keep this mysterious man from advancing, the boss who they've been protecting is greeted with this goon's head rolling towards his feet. And now this mysterious guy tells the boss that you really need to beef up your security, bub. Which should be a dead giveaway of who this guy is if you don't already know by now. But he continues, that's not why I'm here. So, tell me, he says to this boss. Then we get the reveal that this is Wolverine, and he extends his claws to this guy's neck and asks him, when can we expect Sabretooth? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about this new take on Venom? Man, y'all, Venom bonded with She-Hulk, and her life would have been screwed majorly. But how did you guys like the look of Venom She-Hulk? And would you like to see more of her as a character? And who do you guys think gave Sabretooth that Sonic belt? Do you think that Eddie Brock somehow will be behind this in the end? I'm really looking forward to you guys' responses and theories, and I hope you guys are looking forward to the next issue. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you guys can do so by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership. And I'll make sure that there's a link to join in the description. But with your membership, you guys will gain access to weekly interactive live streams with yours truly. And we can talk about everything going down in these issues, as well as ones you'd like for me to go over in the future and other comic book news as well. Plus, you guys will get loyalty badges, member shout outs, and more in these videos. Or you guys can donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do any of those, then you can still be a huge help to the future of this channel by dropping a like, share, and subscribing to Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out.